Today, cryptocurrencies reverse course following Friday's sell-off. Crypto exchange Bullish targets a more than $4 billion valuation in its U.S. IPO. And Bitwise CIO Matt Hougan weighs in on what crypto investors can expect in August and whether the pullback is over. Welcome to CNBC's Crypto World. I'm Mackenzie Sigalos. Major cryptocurrencies, along with stocks, bouncing to kick off the week after a shaky start to August, sparked by concerns over the economy and a new round of tariffs from the Trump administration. Now, as of noon Eastern, Bitcoin climbed less than 0.5%, trading at the $114,000 level. Ether, however, rising more than 4%, and Solana's Sol token increasing more than 2%. Now, taking a look at Coinbase, shares of the crypto exchange rising 1% as of noon Eastern after sinking on Friday following its disappointing Q2 earnings report. Now, yesterday, Compass downgraded the firm to sell following last week's crypto sell-off. Okay, let's talk about the top stories. Bullish is targeting a more than $4 billion valuation as the crypto exchange prepares to go public. In a preliminary filing with the SEC today, the company said it hopes to raise around $630 million by listing 20 million ordinary shares at up to $31 apiece. Now, when combined with roughly 115 million outstanding shares held by the company leaders and existing shareholders, that could place the company's valuation above $4.2 billion. The Peter Thiel-backed Bullish confidentially filed to go public on the NYSE back in July, following a surge in crypto interest on Wall Street, driven by crypto treasuries and stablecoin issuer Circle's blockbuster IPO. Next, Bernstein says the SEC's new Project Crypto initiative could bring equal opportunity and new players to U.S. securities markets. Last week, the SEC debuted the initiative to modernize securities rules and regulations to allow for digital asset-based trading. SEC Chair Paul Atkins said that he directed Commission staff to update antiquated agency rules and regulations to unleash the potential of on-chain software systems and U.S. securities markets. Well, in Bernstein's report out this morning, the wealth manager said Project Crypto could bring a reshoring of innovation back to the United States after many digital asset businesses chose to avoid the U.S. altogether because of a crackdown under the Biden administration. Bernstein's report found Project Crypto has the potential to drive the development of super apps, which could offer a broad range of products like staking, lending, and stablecoins without the need for different licenses in multiple locations. The firm also found that the SEC's initiative could bring about decentralized financial software systems, along with interoperability across the financial ecosystem between crypto, tokenized securities, stablecoins, and more. All right, back to markets for our main story. Digital assets and crypto-focused stocks kicked off the month of August in the red after President Trump unveiled his modified reciprocal tariffs on dozens of countries, and as weaker than expected jobs numbers cast doubts on the strength of the U.S. economy. I spoke with Bitwise CIO Matt Hougan about what we can expect for the rest of the month and whether he thinks his pullback is over. So Matt, the key theme this summer has been institutional adoption of crypto, which overtook the macroeconomic narrative as the main performance driver. But now August is off to a rocky start following weak jobs data and the president's new tariffs. So I'm wondering if you think investors should brace for a reversal of that dynamic as traders potentially continue to sell out of risky assets.
Oh, it's a great question. You know, August is historically the worst month of the year for crypto. So a pullback in August is not uncommon. I think if there is a pullback, investors will be well placed to take advantage of it because the broader themes driving crypto, as you mentioned, institutional adoption, that's not slowing down. In the meetings I'm having with institutions, they are moving forward with adding crypto to their portfolio. So I would take any sign of weakness as an opportunity. If we get the historic August pullback, that sets up for a very strong September, October, and November historically in crypto. I would be seizing that opportunity because I think the long-term outlook is very good.
Now, it seems like Ether got a lot of attention last month, jumping nearly 50% in July. And that's as Bitcoin gained 8% over the same period, though it did hit a new record above $123,000. What factors drove Ether's outsized growth last month? Was it ETF inflows or all the new crypto treasury companies focused on accumulating ETH tokens?
It was amazing. There were three factors all working together at once, which is why you had that huge move. So we saw significant inflows into ETFs. ETH ETFs did more inflows in July than they did in the preceding year. So that was an enormous acceleration. We saw, as you said, ETH treasury companies come into the market and buy billions. We know what that did for Bitcoin, right? It drove it from 70,000 to 100,000 to, as you mentioned, 123,000. Companies were a big driver of that. Now it's repeating in Ethereum. And the third thing is in DC, we made major progress on stablecoins. You saw the Stablecoin Genius Act signed into law. Guess what's the number one beneficiary of stablecoin activity and growth? It's Ethereum. That's the number one platform for issuing and moving stablecoins around the world. So that created a great narrative for investors. I think all three themes will continue throughout the year. So I'm very bullish on ETH from here.
So we're going to come back to your point on stablecoins in just a minute. But first, last month, Bitwise released its crypto market review for the second quarter. And the report called the quarter, quote, exceptional and one of quiet progress. And you note the fact that there are multiple factors driving that, including the confirmation of pro-crypto SEC Chair Paul Atkins, Coinbase entering the S&P 500 index, and then stablecoin issuer Circle debuting really what was a blockbuster IPO. So in a nutshell, how would you categorize the quarter based on your research, and what do investors have to look forward to in Q3?
Yeah, it's everything happening all at once. If we had been talking a few years ago, any one of those stories could have been the only thing we talked about. Coinbase entering the S&P 500 as the first crypto company. Now it's owned by almost every American investor. That's enormous. But these other stories are just as big. Just this week, we had the SEC announce Project Crypto. The chairman of the SEC called this a generational opportunity to upgrade America's financial infrastructure. I think that phrase, everything, everywhere, all at once, all the things crypto talked about, hoped about, looked forward to for years, seem to be coming into fruition. It's really an incredible moment.
Now, this Q2 report from Bitwise points out that one especially intriguing area to watch is stablecoins and tokenized assets, noting that assets under management soared in recent months and show no signs of slowing. Already, big names are jumping into the space like JP Morgan. Even Walmart and Amazon are reportedly exploring issuing their own stablecoins. So do you think that stablecoin deployments start to take off now across some of the non-traditional, non-crypto native players?
Yeah, absolutely. So the big thing that's going to happen is growth. The US government, which is not like a bullish analyst, says that stablecoins could go from $250 billion to $3 trillion by 2030. That's 4+ years away. That's a 10 or 12xing of the market. That's an enormous growth. I think they may be undercounting, but even if we get that, it's a massive investment opportunity. Do I think we'll see Amazon and Walmart directly issue stablecoins? I'm not sure, but will they get involved by allowing stablecoins to be used for paying for things on their site, maybe offering discounts, maybe getting a share of revenue? I think that's what will happen. I think stablecoins are going to fundamentally change the way we do payments in the US, which is hard for people to imagine. But I would take us back to previous times we were able to do things electronically that we previously couldn't. Things like email, disrupting how we move information around the world. Stablecoins are like that for money. It makes the money frictionless, global, and instant. I think it's going to be a major change.
And what does this mean for your two market leaders in this space, Tether and USDC?
Yeah, huge market opening. I mean, again, the government says this will 12x over the next 4 years. You might wonder, how will they compete with JP Morgan, with Bank of America, with other financial giants that come into the market? The history of financial innovation says, yes, those giants get a stake, but the crypto native or the native companies that built that industry do very well. As you know, I come from an ETF background. The largest ETF company today is BlackRock, but they had to acquire that firm because it grew outside of the traditional mutual fund industry. Often these people discount these native players. I think Circle is a generational company. I think Coinbase is a generational company. I think it could one day be $1 trillion company if it continues to execute year after year. So I wouldn't discount these native players and assume JP Morgan will waltz in and own the market. That's not how innovation works.
Now back to Paul Atkins. Last week, as you mentioned, the SEC debuted this Project Crypto initiative to modernize securities regulations. to allow for crypto-based trading. Now, that announcement came amid a surge of interest in tokenization. Chair Atkins discussed the importance of preventing crypto firms from moving offshore due to one-size-fits-all rules. What do you think about Project Crypto, and do you think it'll be effective in achieving that goal?
I do think it'll be effective at achieving that goal of onshoring innovation in the space. And I think it's important for America and important for investors. It's worth noting just how poor our existing financial infrastructure is, right? It hobbles along on ancient platforms. It trades 5 days a week from 9:30 to 4. That's not the world we live in anywhere. That's like the 1980s. We're in the 2020s. It should be 24/7, 365. It should be global and frictionless. And what Atkins says is he's going to move us there. This will be the biggest change in market infrastructure since we went from floor trading to digital trading. It's that scale of change, and he's going to accelerate it. So it's great for the US. It's great for crypto companies building in the US. And it's going to completely, I think, remake how we trade stocks, bonds, ETFs, and how we move dollars. Everyone should read the speech. It's a sort of guideline on how to build a portfolio in this space. Every section gives you an investment idea, and it's pretty exciting to me.
Okay, that's all for Crypto World today, but we'll be back again tomorrow, and we'll see you then.